welcome to our second noontime poetry reading during the month of April. We're affiliated with the Poemtown events, and it's always very special to read poetry here in the gallery and to listen. My name is Adele Westfisher. I am the coordinator of library services here at the Athenaeum, and I am your host librarian today. I have just a few reminder announcements of things that are going on over the next few weeks here at the Athenaeum. And then we will start our poetry readings. And as people come in, they can add their name to the list. Okay, I'm going to run down this very quickly because this stuff is on our website. If you go to www.stjathenaeum.org and go to events, you will see all of these there. But today at 3 o'clock, if you are a cook or non-cook, we are having the cooking circle at 3 o'clock on the second floor today. Chef Alex McGregor will be leading that discussion. Tonight at 7, Dawn Holtz from Milarepa will be here, and she's going to talk about the Buddhist Center there and who and what kind of activities they have going on there. It should be very interesting. On the 25th of April at 7 o'clock, we're going to have the Death Cafe, and that is a collaboration between the St. Johnsbury Athenaeum and MVRH, and Abby Pollender is going to be here, and she's going to be organizing that, but it's discussions at various tables about death and dying and our life experiences. And then if you, on the 26th at 7 o'clock, which is a Friday, I'm doing classic movie night, Rear Window, Jimmy Stewart, classic Hitchcock thriller. And on the 27th, if you know any young poets, which is usually elementary through middle school or younger, we are doing our annual Junior Jam at 3 o'clock. And if you'd like to see some young poets, they'll be here in the gallery sharing their favorite poems or what they have written. Okay, so today I did not prepare anything, so I am going to give all the time to the poets in the room. So with the time we have left, I am thinking 10 minutes or less. And I usually kind of keep a timer and let you know when it's getting close. Does that sound okay with everybody? Okay. I'm going to ask that everybody come up here and introduce themselves, and so that people who might view this later will know who our poets are today. I'm going to start out by calling Ron Lavalette. Is that Lavalette? Okay, up to the speaker to start. And just a note on using this microphone, it is very sensitive. So if you pull it down so it's like right at your chin as opposed to right here, then you won't get a lot of those consonant sounds. Okay? All righty.
Okay, hi. I am indeed Ron Lavalette. I'm a poet from Barton. I also write short prose stuff too. I've been getting some of that published lately. I've been pretty lucky to have a lot of stuff published. Many of you may know a regular guy here, Bill Biddle. I used to sit in with a poetry group with him. I've done a lot of readings in the area. Recommend you all check out a website for the Memphremagog Arts Collective in Newport is doing an open mic poetry thing on, I believe, the 20th in the afternoon. It's 1 to 3. There's a sign up, but I don't think there's much of a deadline for that. I don't know what else to tell you. I've been pretty widely published. I've been pretty lucky to have a lot of stuff published. Journals, reviews, anthologies. Still got a couple of things coming out, but I'd say about 150 poems and short fiction. And my chapbook, Fallen Away, just was published in September by Finishing Line Press. I'll be glad to give anybody a business card and a postcard if they're interested in finding out more about that. I might read one from there before I leave, but I thought I'd read some other stuff today. I didn't know exactly what kind of an audience, what kind of a group would be here today, so I took a shot in the dark on what to select to bring. I hope it meets with your approval. And 10 minutes, well, 2 minutes a poem, I ought to be able to get through most of them. I don't want to read all of them. I didn't think I'd have time. Anyway, this first piece is called Snowbirds. I put this up on my blog today. This is not a particularly new poem, but the National Poetry Writing Month prompt for the day was write something with a weather-based theme or something. So I pulled this out of the oldies file and put it up. I thought I might share it today. It's called Snowbirds. It seems, first off, can everybody hear me okay? Okay, good. It seems like half the town comes in for coffee sometime between noon and 2, most of them hooded and mittened against the cold, some, despite their best efforts, nearly frostbitten, their movement toward the cafe tables slow, their utterances clipped, their eyes still frozen into a sub-zero squint. He observes them dispassionately from his corner table, but with such attention to detail that, in attending so closely to it, he almost ceases to exist. Several times he forgets to breathe, but he always remembers to write. He opens his favorite journal. An unexpected snow squall breaks out over the periodicals rack. A cold front forms and small drifts begin to pile up between the cookbooks and the how-to manuals. Finding the weather so suddenly the same inside as out, the snowbirds begin to migrate more toward the open air, leaving him alone at last, his coffee only half finished, 20 minutes of his lunch hour left. And being as how we're still in April, and being as how we still have snow, I have this poem. It's called Late Snow by the Numbers. I spent the night head filled with numbers and dreams of numbers, and in the frozen morning, new snow on all the branches, I'm filled with numbers still. Read out on the oil tank, wattage of the feeble light bulb, what part of the pound of coffee remains until I'm drowning in a sea of numbers too great to reckon. 5 new inches of snow at the end of April, the month pretending to be March, going out like a lion on all fours, temps in the lower double digits. 5 new inches of snow, even though the moon has orbited the frog pond almost half a dozen times already since the New Year's turn. 5 new inches of snow on the 3 or 4 places we'd reserved for delphinium and columbine, for roses, lilies, and various summer whatnot. All the world's awash in white. April's almost over. I'm still counting on May. Seems to me that I'm writing a lot of I'm getting older poems. And I didn't think we'd have any students here today. I thought we might have a number of retired people who don't have to go to work. So I brought along some aging poems. And this one's still a rough, well, I won't say rough draft. It's an almost, I think, finished draft. I've got a few about me getting older, or about people getting older as it is. This poem is called Family History. Excuse me. My father always told me, his father always told him, that my father's grandfather died just like my father's father died. Rolled over in bed, sat up, probably sat there a minute thinking about the weather or whatever it was that lay ahead, reached down for his slippers, groaned slightly, keeled over, face first onto the hardwood, gone. Both of them gone in the lack of a heartbeat, gone forever before they got old, regardless of what old was way back then when they died. My father broke the pattern, managed to hang on longer, managed to avoid the floorboards until his pancreas ate him alive, slowly, letting him spend his last few ancient days in his own drug-comfortable bed dreaming. I've still got a few dreams coming, I guess, but these days, when I've made it to old, but ancient seems unlikely, I wake up, roll over in bed, look at my slippers on the floor, and feel like I'm flipping a coin when I reach to pick them up. I'm going to read one more old man poem, and then I want to read a poem, because last week, or maybe the week before, was Lawrence Ferlinghetti's 100th birthday. I'm hoping the name is familiar to you. He was one of the reasons I started writing way back when in high school. Anyway, before I do that though, this poem is called What It's Like for Him Now. After his card gets rejected a second and a third time, after the cashier starts to look annoyed and the customers, agonized in line behind him, have shifted from foot to weary foot, he finally takes a look at the touchpad and realizes that 2357 does not spell out his secret nickname, but is, in fact, his office telephone's extension. Happy that he has not lost his mind, or not completely lost his mind, he slides the magic plastic one more time. While everybody rolls their eyes and holds their breath, he punches in the 5 and 4 and 6 and 9. He should have known without a second thought, without a second's hesitation. The room's illuminated by patrons' smiles, the cashier's affect brightens, the folks in line look forward to inching forward, captains again of their shopping fate, glad to see the geezer gone at last, meds in hand, leaning on his cane, scanning the lot for his lost car. One more. Yeah, great, perfect. This poem's called Grace. Grace. Thank you, Father, for all that hash when I was just a high school boy, and for all those girls, their cute little pink feet and silver toe rings up on the dashboard, stones on the radio, calico dresses in the wind, tanned legs, hot nights, warm flesh, and all those summer sun-struck mornings waking up with no idea whose house I was in, whose bed, and not a second's thought about how it's only Tuesday, smoky and unknowable. Thanks for the moon reflected in the windshield raindrops, and for midnight mushrooms, day glow under black light, mescaline boogie, acid rock, and acid. But mostly, thank you for 1968, Danny Riley and his floral necktie, finishing up his student teaching, smiling and handing me books, saying, "Oh man, you should read some Ginsberg, or Brodigan maybe. No, here, I got it. For you, Ferlinghetti." Thanks for your time.
My name is Jim Barrett, and I will be reading out of my award-winning chapbook called Schuyler House. It's available at bookstores near you, near to you. Okay, Okay, let me think here. So I've been writing, I don't know, since 1990, and this year I was accepted into Poem City, Montpelier, Poemtown, St. Johnsbury, and Poemtown, Randolph. And I guess my first poem is about someone I knew who I used to drive cab with years ago. I found out 2 years ago that he managed to win quite a prestigious prize in a foreign country, and I knew the guy. So anyway, it's called Ode to M.T. I just want to cry into the debris, like some tender feather carelessly caressed. Tell me, how many shipwrecks does it take to fill this lake of fools with land o' lakes? Butter mouth, butter breath, touching the untouchable, hand clapping with a fat lady on a Subaru. Boo-hoo, adieu. And to think I loved him once, Bluestone's dreadlock pizza boy, as if he could ever achieve this newfound notoriety. Pufferhead, so haughty and telephone cord, Newton North's very own gangsta puppet, fish-tailed woof-woof, as if he could ever really care. And my next poem is called Vineyard. The wine needs pressing for the dark-haired seeds, wed to the night. Step by step they wander, invisible, cold towards a church house, through ominous winds, over the fields, behind their edges, invisible, short-lived and thrifty, touch of peddler. The colors behind this vineyard aren't recognizable. They have no names to harvest, no fruit. My next poem is called White Birch. This brutal birch, its ice-painted face, angry and aloof, smashed against the ridgeline, riding into circles. For once you've remembered it. For once you're free. The day is ridden with ravines, horizon of cold, temper of snout, crumbled days, long since craved, with not even a sixpence, not even a sky, wild glare of branches, nothing and null, blue on gray, through the cries of frost-tinged hair. I knew her once. Now, why must she weep? Jaundiced and indifferent, moody and alone. This next one is called Rainy Night. The half-invisible come to me, bear my fears, bear their weight. Cast from wherever you find yourself. Look towards what needs looking, churning along the edges of the past. Look at me, unknown shape. Light your pipe, knock your knock. Say it, say to me, to the dead hours that come alight. Always they wait. Your eyes lift to a draped figure, a city room. Always, always, how you looked. Always remember the rain that falls against the snowdrifts, drifting alone, forever enhanced. This one is called Testimony. How much time we got? To you I rejoice, to the hemlocks that are gone. I find that ghost of a spring where you and I once lived. Perhaps you were really here, perhaps not. Mellowed in the mud and fire, I step out of myself, slide into focus, capturing this space, forgiving you, how I cherish its southernmost edges, as day drops to what was, this side of the light, of the sharp hills and valleys, raising you, without you, close to evening, so close. And this one is called The Girls. There's some girls that I met down in Brattleboro, Vermont last summer, and they were walking their dog, and the dog was named Laverno. So this is about that moment with the girls. The girls, 40 years en retard, am greeted by Laverno and the girls. Who's watching who? Should maintenance ruin it? Should my day start? I will come. I will go as I please. No one can stop me. Not me, not you, not God. And this one is called Rachel. Having reached the final edge, sister, you call and call, spaces 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes the effect down the hallway might be permanent, more or less. Silhouette unknown. It's all around you as we diminish. Night and memory, dust and glass. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Sharon Moulton. I'm from Lyndonville. I started writing a couple of years ago. I have been published in the North Country Trader, Poem City Montpelier, and Poemtown Randolph. The first poem that I'm going to read to you won a contest in Poemtown Randolph in 2017, and I apologize, I'm really nervous. The name of the poem is Covered Roads. Driving on these snow-covered roads, I've driven on down them many times before. Through my front window, I can see Willoughby Gap lying straight ahead and is in front of me. In my rearview mirror, I can see Burke Mountain. I listen as it beckons me. No one knows what the future holds, but this beautiful mountain found here in the Northeast will always be Burke to me. And the second poem that I'm going to read to you is named Windowsill. This was published in Poemtown Randolph 2018, and I just received notification this week that it's going to be published on Vermont Suicide Prevention website. I'm advocating for them. The name of it is, Windowsill. I saw you as you gazed outside, wondering and far too young to understand why. In the reflection could be seen the tears as they began to fill, watching as they fell from your eyes and then down from your cheeks. Your sadness was seen in the window pane. With one finger, slowly you wrote a name. As quickly as the name appeared, then brushed away, disappeared. After moments and time had passed, I saw you smile, and I even heard you laugh. Sorry. My last poem, it's called Our Tree. This was published in Montpelier, Poem City 2018, I believe. And it was also published on the Vermont Alzheimer's Association webpage. And I wrote this for my parents. Our tree. As sure as the seasons change, both similar in a different way, to another time and place, memories of the childhood days. Turning back the hands of time as the wall clock slowly ticks. Daylight brings the sundown hours, reversed. The nights sneak into the days. Listening as she repeats again, do you remember our story of how and where we met? With the biggest smile, he said yes. At that moment, her eyes filled with cheer. Quickly, she brushed away her tears as she sat beside him and said, like the rings found deep within a tree, like a circle with no beginning or end, like a full circle that meets and connects. Slowly, he looked at her and said, our tree. That's it. Sorry, I was...
My name is Joe Godwin, and I've been reading for a number of years, and right here in the Athenaeum for National Poetry Month. And I'm looking for what I wrote this morning and worked on it starting at 6 a.m. I think I found it. Let's see. Here it is. It's a collection of rambling ortselans. It's you're looking at 700 syllables right here, and 25 separate poems on this page. Consisting of, each one consisting of 28 syllables. And the title is, This Somewhat Memoirish Dream. This dream is precognitive and its point clearly taken to be all-embracing, while that is the nightmare as well. Their boldness has become all too obvious. Although we often can choose the real world to cancel out offenses, we embrace the muse for a refined version of the truth. Its fantasy may vary according to our passion. Has anyone ever known your conscience better than you and your highest self? These things are obvious from the start. According to ancient dreams, we have fully developed communications from the realms of purest innocence. Without a doubt, we have no ego, yet it seems that in dismay, we harbor second thoughts about our roles in life. We should expect to be asked several questions concerning the character of our friends. Let's not lose sleep over it. You only live once, Walru. Take your dharma karma as it comes along until Jai arrives to retrieve us. How can this nothingness help to solve our dissolution in protecting the status quo, helping us to find love, helping others to explore every possibility? Isn't it obvious that we can never be alone? Don't think that by any stretch of the imagination we cannot but accomplish the greater good in all things. It's an uncanny feeling here, the lavender fields in Aix-en-Provence, listening to the nightingale's lilting song. Who knows what we may find while hiking on Mont Sainte Victoire? Petrified dinosaur eggs embracing life's wholesomeness? It is best to be open to new avenues of thought. Whatever the short-term costs, we must be off and running. Are you the only one wrapped in silver sauerkraut while eating hot dogs and yellow mustard? What's Ma cooking up? I would be more than happy to answer your questions, how that stray cat started pushing up daisies in the garden. If you could answer me one, just how could you be wearing this gold chain around your neck while it's hanging around mine? Nothing's lost in the long run, though times change and friends move on. Down the quiet road, home from where there's no need to return. Meaningless comparisons have plagued our compassion. My beloved, hadn't we planned to bring us all together? Whose ego created this world of idolatry? where we have failed anyhow to fulfill our finest desire. We do agree that there is love enough for everyone to hold together and reach far beyond the confusion. Someone keeps working like a charm to strengthen the heart of healing, putting their faith in everlasting happiness. There you go, surmising time and time again to have it both ways. Everything will be taken care of, and why not? This seems to be a memoir of sorts, somewhere lost in the shuffle, but only getting better all the time. We'll see. We've been taught that the power of love can work in strange ways. Best to remember some things than to forget all but this. Thank you. Hi. I think I have one more here. Let's see. This one is made up of 21 syllables per poem. There's 25 rambling ortselans on this page. And the title is Turn That Problem on Its Head. Was that the last time, and is this the first time that love has turned that problem on its head? Misery seeks company, and fantasies play into trips, trip us up with our monkey mind. Isn't it remarkable, putting energy into something that can do nothing? You've got to be in heaven to go there. Hello, it is not all that far from the truth. As good as we were back when I'd hate to think where we are now working with these problems. They died of a broken heart, getting all caught up in their negative mind loops, poor ghosts. Why worry about what may transpire in the future? It's likely past life reruns. Positive thinking will get through to them when they begin to cancel our nostalgia. It's okay when you're lonesome and it's almost Halloween. Why don't we dress up as ghouls? If you want to buy something for me, why don't we begin by shopping for some freedoms? I see you expect to have instant gratification. And what kind of a format? Let me guess, oblongata medulla, pineal gland, visual cortex, herbal brew. Science has known for some time that the man in the moon is a conehead with a long chin. Are you proverbially dead when you don't know enough to write down what we're thinking? You were the little nipper. This is a story that should be told and not forgotten. Any attempt at conquest is not quite the same as if it actually did happen. The critics like you, and they expect to be wowed if you want to be in the running. People have to carry crosses and whatnot. Makes us look different at life, right? Time may be suspended for a period until we can get our acts together. You are so lucky that you have no guilt. You won't have to suffer any more or less. Nothing can compare with the new world order emerging victorious from the pit. And don't be too quick on the draw. We will make more friends in town than in the wild any day. Honest, we try not to sift through bad dreams before making an attempt to fall asleep. Neophytes apparently are hardly prepared for a battle of this magnitude. Who would intellectualize thoughts that are beyond human comprehension in this case? Thank you. Great. All righty. Next. Thank you.
Yeah, fine.
Or less, whatever you want to do.
Let me see, what do I have? I'm sorry I'm late, the weather.
Oh, yeah.
The roads. Whew.
Let's put this down just a touch so we can
Oh,
hear you
okay.
better. There you
Because you
go.
want to hear every
I do, every syllable.
syllable will be yours. Let's see. Okay, I'll read one. I always know what I'm going to read until I actually stand up here. My name is Jeannie. I live in West Charleston. I know there shouldn't be any disclaimers, but it's all up here. It's called Leave. Leave. Omit this treasure for which you yearned and which came to you ragged. Leave this again, this ragged yearning, this treasure which came unbidden, without which you cannot move forward again. Leave if you can omit that yesterday, that treasure. Leave yearning, you can. Okay, maybe I'll read 3. This one was written a long time ago, but nonetheless, it's a good one. Oh, enveloped night, watching me and my fears among the torn city's microscopes. Open apart some avenue, one small grave, any gate that can permit my breath to linger here in your orchard, overfilled with measurements and prizes. O night-thickened corridor of rooms, lifting my forms and my totals, grant me enough doors that close. I feel now the fruit of evening, and I am enveloped. Something a little lighter. It's called When I. When I am old and no longer enthralled with the color purple, I shall search, hope, find another color, maybe of blood, tar, and I shall find out which means youth. When I am old, I shall make stories that include my histories. I shall chant without your realms and regions. So old am I have careened now without some chart. Come catch me. Okay. Thank you. Well, I have another one, but it's, I don't want to take up all this time. Okay.
Actually, we have,
Well,
you have 7 more minutes of life.
whoa. I'll read someone else's if they want.
But you have time for
One more.
another one.
Okay.
If you have something you want to.
This was written not too long ago. No title. You say you know of blood. You say you know of anguish. You say that distant road can travel with no exit, no end. You say that symphony will choose that road. You say that stanza will echo a refrain, a red refrain. You may encircle that anguish with memory, a red memory. You say, encircle that road with that symphony. Wait for the end. See where you are now. That's it. I have only 4. I didn't want to take more because sometimes it seems like, you're standing up here giving your own poetry reading. So anyway, thank you.
Thanks for all your wonderful offerings today. As you see, every week's a little different in terms of some of our poets. So please come back next Wednesday and bring more celebration of Poemtown and National Poetry Month. So thank you again for coming and sharing. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, actually, we should thank the staff for allowing us to use this room.
Thank you very much. I just love doing the poetry readings in here.